think it's interesting that, today, and we'll probably get to this later in our conversation in more depth, but parents like yourself are facing a similar set of questions around what do I bring my kids into with the revolution of technology and AI and things happening right now? And do I encourage and push them into these new things and help them get an edge? Or do I kind of hold back and try to keep them in what's been the traditional way of things prior to this? Maybe there's fear for some people, maybe there's excitement for others. But I'm curious, really quick, as a dad yourself, how do you view what you experienced as a kid? How does that inform how you view it today as a dad?
Yeah, it absolutely informs it. And I think it's a guiding light, right? Because I can 100% say that I would not be in this position in technology. I wouldn't have the desire because it didn't get instilled in me early enough and not acknowledged. What's the word I'm looking for? It wouldn't have been challenged. It wouldn't have been celebrated the
Mm.
way that my parents were like, well, let's just see if it adds value to our family, to our life. And I see that opportunity for my daughters, right? I have a 12-year-old and an 11-year-old daughter. And I'm excited to give them the unfair advantage every chance I can get. So they learned how to search Google as soon as they could type. And
Hmm.
now on the weekends and evenings, I show them how to use AI tools. We're sitting down and I'm saying, don't stop searching Google for what you need, but I'm going to show you how you can have a conversation with ChatGPT, or how you can create something all brand new out of your imagination with Midjourney or a different type of tool, because there is no scenario in their future where they won't be using these.
Yes.
None, especially with a technology focused family and a guy like their dad. But I think it's a bigger picture question, which is, okay, but at what extent do they turn to that first and not learn the fundamentals? I don't think that helps anybody. You can't pay somebody to swim for you. You still have to learn how to
Hmm.
swim yourself. You can pay
Hmm.
somebody to rescue you, but typically that happens after the fact, and you're
Yeah,
paying a visit in
exactly.
that case, right?
Exactly.
You're out the money and somebody else is risking their neck for you. So I still want my kids to understand the fundamentals. I still want them to understand the principles of research and putting it together and being creative. I don't want a robot to be creative for my kids. I want them to be the creative director of
Mm,
whatever they want their life to be, but I don't want them to not have the tools.
I love that. I'll also back up to something you said that I think is really important about what your dad and your parents brought into the home, with the idea of how could this add value to the way we want to live and to give my kids an unfair advantage, and this value add lens. And what I've seen, my sisters who have big families and looking at technology, and they see some role modeling of technology being used in a way that's more of a distraction than a value add. Just put the iPad in front of the kid and just, it keeps them busy all the time. And they're more afraid to expose their kids to technology because they see that side. And I think that, well, asking a different question, how does this bring value into the home? And how can we give our next generation, these kids who we love so dearly, an unfair advantage in the world that they are stepping into one way or the other? That's a really powerful lens. So
Well, I've got a great example on that one, if this is helpful. Is
please.
So for example, my kids are 11 and 12. They both have iPads. They've had tablets for a few years now. My 12-year-old finally has a phone, but that's a whole other conversation for parents, and we'll get there. We have reasons for that. One thing that we did was we have a family Google Calendar that used to just be between Valerie, my wife, and I. And I recently installed that calendar on both of their devices because I want to empower them with knowing what's coming up. Like, we're a very calendar driven family, but they've now found efficiency in their lives because they don't have to ask us, hey, what are we doing this weekend? Or, can I go play with this friend or whatever? If they've got a volleyball game, if we've got practices, if grandma's coming over, whatever it is, they at least are aware of it, and they've started thinking about how to be better in our family kind of life cycle and what we do because they just have the awareness for it. It's one example. The other one that comes to mind is when I taught my 11-year-old prompt engineering for ChatGPT. I sat her down and we gave me some examples. What are you thinking about? They're both in volleyball, right? And my wife made the decision, you've met Val now, that she wants to coach this next season. So send help, but we're going to be fine. And and my daughter, as I was showing her like how we can use ChatGPT to come up with a personalized volleyball practice schedule. And she
Okay.
like opened her eyes and she's like, yeah, I can't use Google for that. Like it clicked for her, within minutes. That was really cool. It was a very proud dad
Mm.
moment. But the reason I give that example is she went in the house and she started thinking of it. And she was talking about, she ran back out here, super excited. I have a garage office space where I'm recording. So when I say in here, out here, just between room to room. So she ran back out. She's like, Dad, I just had a great idea. Mommy's going to be coaching my volleyball team. And now, the same way you taught me how we can have a personalized schedule, she can make personalized schedules for the whole team. And then she knows exactly what to do for who and all that. I was like, that's exactly right, baby. Come on over and I'll
Perfect
show you
example.
how we can do it. And I said, I want you to lead the conversation. How do you think, if you were the coach, how would you set it up? I was like, well, make up names. So give me a name. She says, Sally. Okay. What is Sally good at? What is she bad at? Like all these
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed her ways. Okay, well, if you ask it that this way, you'll get this kind of answer. So to the same point, ask a stronger question, you get a better answer. It's just a
Yes.
different way of doing it. Is that going to take over her creativity? No, I wanted it to empower it. And that was a very cool moment. And that was the first time that she ever experienced ChatGPT and working with an AI tool. And it already opened her up. So that's the kind of empowerment that I want
Yes.
my kids to have. And all it takes is just you being open to trying it and seeing what they come up with. But man, I love seeing the creativity come out of my kids, showing them different tech tools, but now more than ever, these AI tools.
So fun. And for me, it inspires my own engagement with the tools as well. I know we're talking about 11 and 12-year-olds, but in some ways, we're all 11-year-olds when it comes to learning these new tools. But